Hello everybody! Welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, hello, my name's Luna. If you're not new here, welcome back. Welcome back again. What's good? So I'm very excited today because we are going to be doing a book review, which I haven't done in so long. So I am just pumped because I really love this book, and so I wanted to tell you all about it. If you're new here, if you're new here, definitely subscribe if you like witchy things, girly things, and the intersection between those. I love books, and yeah, I'm just so excited. So this is actually a book that we read in my Patreon book club. This was Gemini season, and I basically every month in my book club, I pick like 4 or 5 books that I think embody the energy of the zodiac season that we're going into. And then I let my patrons vote on it, which is so fun for them and so nice for me because I don't have to feel like, am I choosing a book that no one wants to read? You know, is this like my own personal preference? So it's like so nice. It's out of my hands. I'm like, you guys choose, and then I will read whatever you guys want. And so we chose this for Gemini season, and this is Bewitching the Elements by Gabriela Herstik. You guys may or may not know of her. She's like one of my favorite authors in the whole world and one of my IRL friends, and she's like really sweet and awesome. And so I have read every other, is that true? Yeah, I have read every single one of her books now. This was the last book that I had read by hers. And what's really fun is before I knew Gabriela Herstik in real life, since moving to Los Angeles, the very first witchy book I officially read when I decided to like really get into witchy books was her book, Inner Witch. That was literally the first book I picked up on witchcraft. So that was the very first book I read, and I loved it. And some of the things I really loved about it were, this is gonna sound silly, but just like bear with me. Those of you who know me, you know I'm a Taurus rising, so I'm ruled by Venus. I'm a very Venusian kind of person. I love aesthetics, not for like the sake of aesthetics itself, but just that like, I think beauty is a huge part of my life, and I don't know, communicates emotions and like really does make you feel certain ways. And her books are so beautiful, like gorgeous. And so what I really remember about Inner Witch is, I'm just wondering if I have it here. I think it's at my other bookshelf, but the cover's really pretty and the font was all purple. And I was just like, what? This is crazy. Like, I've never seen this. And that just stuck with me, which is really silly. And that's like not even a part of the book. Like the book itself was amazing, an amazing introduction into witchcraft. And it's just so good on so many levels. And we're not even talking about that book today, but so many good levels, I guess, of witchiness. And it just really stuck with me. And I've read a ton of witchy books, but that one always was just amazing, and I love her writing style. I think that you guys see this in the way that I conduct my content. Like, I don't know. For me, I don't love like, I'm trying to word this nicely because I'm not trying to come for anybody, but like I really appreciate casualness and like the feeling of like I'm just sitting down with you and we're straight up just like having a conversation. Like, I'm never trying to sound smart or sound professional or do anything that's not natural. I just really, really, really treasure loving casual interactions, I guess. And so, yeah, there's a level of like authenticity and vulnerability that I think comes with that. And so in her books, I would say all her books, I think Sacred Sex, of course this is like now a Gabriela Herstik review, it's fine, but Sacred Sex was the only book that was like, I mean, it was still very friendly and casual, but it was such a higher level of, it was very advanced witchcraft, I think, at least intermediate. And I think because of that, like you dive into a lot of like philosophies and ancient religions and stuff like that, and just higher level concepts that kind of require a level of intellectual speak, I guess, that her more beginner or like intermediate friendly level books like are more casual, if that makes sense. So I really like that because, I don't know, it's like that yearning for community. I love community, and yeah, I just like the friendliness. I love the tone. I'm also drinking a lavender lemonade that I made. It really is like just looking like cloudy ass water, but it's homemade lavender lemonade. So grab a little drinky drink if you haven't already, and let's talk about this book specifically. So I've already given you an introduction into Gabriela Herstik. I'll read you what this says. This is Bewitching the Elements, a guide to empowering yourself through earth, air, water, and fire. I fucked that up. A guide to empowering yourself through earth, air, fire, water, and spirits. And so I'll read to you what the back of the book says. Empower yourself by connecting to the 5 elements through meditation, breathwork, tarot, crystals, rituals, and journaling. It's the new age of enlightenment, and more people are embracing witchcraft and other spiritual practices to tap into their inner strength and resilience while aligning with something larger than themselves. The tools Gabriela Herstik offers in Bewitching the Elements will help you connect to the universe and your inner light. Committing to a path that serves our authentic selves is a radical act. When we do this work alongside nature by tuning into the elements, we find a map back into our intuitive and energetic wisdom. Yeah. And it says through earth, learn how to... Okay, this is, I think, a really good and useful breakdown for those of you who are into witchcraft, but maybe not so much like elemental, but even those of you who are into elemental witchcraft but feel like maybe you need a little refresher. So it says through earth, learn how to ground and create compassionate boundaries. Through air, harness the breath, balance the body, and find presence in the moment. Through fire, embody passion and sexuality, burning away what no longer serves you, and learn to constructively work with anger. Through water, explore your emotional depths and come back to the heart. Through spirit, connect to your own sense of power, embracing all of the lessons of the elements. So, jumping straight into this book, I love this book. I'm not even gonna hide it, not gonna lie. I love this book. I would love this book if I didn't know Gabriela Herstik. I really love this book. And I think I didn't know what to expect when I first started reading it, because I hate reading the backs of books. I just love going in blind. And so, I don't even know. I think I thought this was gonna be, I think it's a lot more advanced than I thought it was gonna be, I guess. The deep dives into each of the elements are so incredible, and I really love, like, so she talks about, like, looking at your own birth chart, understanding your own astrology, and your own personal balance or imbalance. And so, for example, I am an Aries stellium, if you couldn't tell by literally everything I'm doing. And I'm, like, so fiery. I have so much fire in my chart and so much cardinal in my chart, and I really struggle with, like, earth. I don't really have any earth besides my rising. It's nice to be able to conceptualize that and understand that, like, I can see all the fire in my life through how often I get excited and then burnt out, and, like, that kind of process, and my lack of grounding. And so what, I guess the main thing I want to say to start, the thing I love most about this book is that you are able to, especially if you understand your birth chart, or if you just have a lot of self-awareness and you're like, okay, I burn out a lot and I struggle with grounding and having a routine and having, like, a stable meditation practice, you can just go straight to the earth chapter if that's what you notice, like me, you struggle with. And it is just, like, I don't know, therapy. It's really like rehab for your imbalances. Yeah, and so even after reading this book, I know I'm gonna continue to reference this whenever I'm feeling those imbalances. So if you're somebody who is connected to elemental magic, or you just honor the elements, which is like most of us, and you realize, like, okay, it's Leo season, like maybe I want to get more in touch with the fire element. You could just go straight to the fire section after you've read it and just, like, revisit it and see all the different activities, read about it, remember, kind of get re-immersed into that energy, and then follow her ritual activities. Let's go to that, actually, since I'm mentioning that. So like the back of the book said, there is a bunch of different kind of ways each of these sections are formulated. So we jump into each element, and so you have the start of the element, talks about the elements, the attributes of the element, how to connect to the element. Yeah, and this is what I really like. Like, this section is how to connect with the element of fire, and all of these different, like, super easy, super modern activities that connect you to fire. And I think that that's something I really enjoy about Gabriela Herstik's work, is it is geared to the modern witch. So it's not always like, okay, you're gonna cast a circle and do this 3-day spell candle, and, you know, like, more of the, yeah, it's just more modern. So it's like, here are some things that you might already be doing that you can be doing like spending time under the sun, and just putting that mindfulness and intention into that. Things that are accessible, easy, and just, yeah, a bit more realistic for the modern world. You get a ritual practice, and for fire, it's creating mantras and affirmations for new patterns, power, and purpose. There's a meditation, and we actually followed one of the meditations in my Patreon. Affirmations, tarot, and then so this is something I really enjoyed, is how she connected each element to the tarot, which if you read tarot, you probably already know that they're kind of intertwined. But I just love that. It really is just like, I love tarot, I love astrology, I love meditating as hard as it is for me, and crystals and everything. And so each of these elemental sections are broken down into those different kind of ways of exploring it. And also she always talks about a goddess for each element, which I love because I am a goddess girly. It's just so amazing. It's really great. Like, not only do I think you'll learn so much from this book, there's a lot of really straightforward practices to immediately get you into connecting to the energy of that element. And I think that's really helpful, because I think sometimes books can be hard, and that like the practices are just like, okay, on a Tuesday where the moon is in Leo, you need to get these 5 fucking crazy herbs, and like, it's just very intense. And when you're somebody who is, I don't know, busy, or even like neurodivergent like I am, like sometimes just being able to do these things in very realistic, very easy, simple, modern ways is like the best way to dip your toes into it, or to even immerse yourself into it fully. Like, I don't think that we need to be doing huge, elaborate, traditional rituals in order to connect to these things. And I think sometimes it's easy to get excited and then to like feel like you have to go crazy, you know what I'm saying? And so I just love, it's down to earth, it's realistic, and it's so fucking fun. Like, it's really fun. And like I said, Inner Witch had like purple font. This book has blue font, and like the photos are also printed in like blue ink, and I just think it's so creative and beautiful. And so if you are somebody who, especially if you're someone who's really interested in goddess worship, read all of Gabriela Herstik's books. Like, they're so amazing, and she is, I think, follows a very similar path that I do, so being very intertwined with like sex magic, the divine feminine, the divine masculine, goddess worship, like, it's very much prevalent in this book, and I really, really like that. And for those of you who love little quizzes, there's a quiz in the back of the book towards the end, in the In Connection chapter, which is the very last chapter, and it's a quiz for learning your current elemental makeup, and I fucking love quizzes. They're so fun. And so I just thought that was like a really nice way to, trust my intuition, but also like go through that quiz and see, is there any blind spots? Like, am I lacking any certain element? And am I heavy in an element that maybe I wasn't aware of? And it was really, really fun. It was a really good time. This book was just, I think it's an amazing book, and I think it kind of should be on everyone's bookshelf because it's just so good. And it's hard to explain because it's like covers a lot of the basics, but a step further from like a beginner book, if that makes sense. So it feels like it's a fine book for beginners. I think there were a couple of beginner witches in my Patreon who said that it was a little bit, there were some things that were a little confusing, or just like they had to reread that section a couple of times, and that's totally understandable. But I think that beginners can enjoy this book a lot, and I definitely think if you're an intermediate witch, I think that, I don't know, maybe you're like me and thought this would be more beginner than it was, but it's definitely intermediate, and it was like a pleasant surprise. Like, I was already so excited to read it because I love the elements, and I love using the imagery of the elements to help me understand, like, energy, I guess, if that makes sense, and like where my energy's going and what I'm lacking. But this went so many more steps further than I expected, and it was so comprehensive and so exciting, and just every section was so fun. So I highly recommend it. Yeah, I love this book so much. I hope it was a good book review. I always like never know what to say in book reviews, and I just literally have nothing bad to say about this book. Like, I just really loved it and thought it was really fun. So I don't know, guys, check it out. Get it from your library or buy it because it's really fun. The author's amazing, and it's just a really good fucking book to have. So I hope you guys like this book review. Let me know if there's any books you want me to review in the future, and also let me know if you want me to start reviewing all my book club books, because I was thinking it would be fun to review my book club books and let you guys know who aren't in the Patreon what we're reading and like what we thought of it. So yeah. Okay, I hope you guys have an amazing day. I love you all so much, and I'll see you all next time. Bye.